This is the Epic Brum podcast, and we're joined by the man responsible for the go-to guide to Birmingham's independence. Delighted to welcome Independent Birmingham founder Joe Schuppler as our latest guest. Independent Birmingham began life as a blog promoting the second city's independent scene, and Joe joined us to talk about how it's grown into a brand with around 120,000 social media followers and its own app that offers discounts at more than 100 restaurants, bars, shops and entertainment venues across Birmingham and Solihull. Now, we did have a few technical problems dialing Joe in, such is the way of the world at the moment, so apologies if the sound is slightly muffled in a couple of places, but we're pretty sure you'll enjoy what he's got to say. Joe, good to speak to you. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good. It's great to have you on the podcast. And it seems like Independent Birmingham's it's busier than ever, despite the pandemic. That's how it looks, viewing it from social media and everything. Has that been the case?
Yeah, it's been a weird one. As you say, a lot of people can't operate, like a lot of businesses can't operate in the usual manner that they do, and they've kind of had to so quickly adapt to so many varying situations. Obviously, lockdowns, the current situation that we're in, and Independent Birmingham's kind of had to adapt along with that as well. And we found that like people aren't going into venues because they can't. So, we've tried to, as much as possible, encourage people and kind of help people to discover these amazing independents online and, kind of help to keep them going by supporting them through their various kind of means, whether that's kind of DIY kits or deliveries or collections, etc. So yeah, we've been incredibly busy. I mean, it's already busy anyway because there's only two of us running Independent Birmingham, so it's already it was always quite an extremely tough workload to begin with. But yeah, it's kind of gone a bit crazy because I think the pandemic has shown people what they enjoy and what kind of the sort of things that they love and cherish, and a lot of that's kind of been channeled into hyper local. So because people have had to kind of remain at home and they've only been able to kind of go around their local area, I think that's kind of created a new thirst for people to support local, and especially in their kind of local area and vicinity. So we're more engaged than ever now on social media. Yep, we kind of reach about 2.5 million people across Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter a month. So we're it's great for us. It allows us to connect our brilliant audience with the independents who make this city unique. So it's nice. Yeah, it's nice to be busy, I guess, but it's tough keeping up. Everyone's changing and having to adapt so quickly, and we have to be really on our toes to kind of make sure that we've got all the right information going out, that we don't miss things, and we try and create such a kind of go-to resource for people so that they don't have to kind of muddle around on the internet trying to find these things. We want to be that resource where we're like, hey, everything is here. You want DIY Balbun kits? Yeah, you can find them through IB and, everything like that. So yeah, it's been very busy.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you don't mind me kind of mentioning this, but I remember at the start of the first lockdown and looking at the account, and I mean, my partner and I are Independent Birmingham members, you'll be pleased to know. And but there was a bit of an appeal that went out that kind of said, stick with us. And I know, like a lot of business owners, really, you were probably a little bit anxious perhaps about what was going to happen, but you've ended up kind of doubling down almost and being this like really extra invaluable source to help the independents put their word out there as they've diversified, haven't you?
Yeah, it was extremely tough. I think we kind of found, along with a lot of independents, that, the first lockdown was a very strange occurrence. And we had a massive amount of people kind of cancel the app straight away because obviously they were like, well, we're not going to be able to use it for a few months and things. So what's the point of paying this $1.99 subscription? But I don't think they kind of realized that was the business's sole revenue at that point, because we couldn't put on our festivals that we do every year and things like that. So yeah, we were kind of in quite a serious situation, in bad jeopardy, and we had to kind of put an appeal out to say, you know what, if you want to discover these amazing places and you want to use Independent Birmingham as a resource, please do, kind of consider keeping your IB app membership or signing up as an app member to kind of, in better times, get these amazing discounts and deals at over 135 independents and counting, because it's the only thing that's keeping this vital platform alive. And we've supported so many independents over the last 7 years, and we're such a kind of go-to resource. So it would have been a shame for, it to kind of all go away because suddenly everyone kind of decided, I'm not going to be able to use this, so I'm going to cancel this. And thankfully, people realized that, and thankfully people did actually kind of keep their app memberships, and we had a few sign-ups from that, because, it is tough, especially for the first lockdown. It was hard to kind of say to people, yes, you're struggling too. You're now working from home. Some of you potentially been made redundant or kind of now have part-time hours instead, but, please support us. And it was a bit weird. It didn't sit quite right with me, but it was the only way to kind of keep the business afloat. And thankfully, a lot of people were like, yeah, we love Independent Birmingham. We love what you do. We've discovered so many independents through you, supported so many different businesses because of the kind of content you've been putting out, and we want to support you too. And I'm just kind of very thankful that that's the case, and we've got such a brilliant audience that we've kind of curated over the last 7 years who, stuck with us and helped us get through it.
Sure, well, it's great that people have embraced it. I just wanted to go a few steps back, because I'm sure most people listening will be very familiar with Independent Birmingham, but just in case there are a few people who aren't, can you just give us a quick summary of what it is that you do and how the app works and everything?
Yeah, definitely. Independent Birmingham is your go-to guide to independent culture in Birmingham. It's a website that champions and celebrates the independent businesses in and around Birmingham, inspiring people to kind of get out there and, support local and support the businesses that make our city unique. It starts out as a website and blog, just kind of, really like celebrating the city and all these various businesses. And then 1 year into it, I launched the Independent Birmingham membership card, which was a kind of little credit card sized membership card, which, entitled you to various discounts and deals at the time. Not many independents were on it, but currently at the moment there are over 135. And fast forward kind of 7 years down the line, and we've launched the app, which is a digitalized version of that. So now we have the Independent Birmingham app, and on that you can kind of discover a brilliant database of 135 plus different independents. If you just download it, you can download it for free, have a scroll down, see these amazing places, and then if you sign up to be a member, you're entitled to the various discounts and deals at these 135 plus independents across Birmingham, whether that's up to 25% off, 2-for-1 offers, freebies. Obviously, with lockdown in effect, we've tried to adapt as many discounts and deals to be applicable online as possible, but it's not really viable for every single business that's involved. So we try to kind of convert as many as possible, but some places have and will remain closed until after lockdown lifts, and some places just can't kind of support that because they're already on delivery platforms that take, kind of a large chunk out of their profit margin already, so they can't support that. But that's essentially what it is. It's a guide to help people discover the very best of Birmingham's independent scene. We're kind of very active on social media, and we showcase the kind of really incredible places that it makes you want to support local. It makes you proud of your city. And then through that, if you wanted to get a kind of exclusive discount at one of these businesses, then you download the IB app, sign up to be a member. It's $1.99 a month, and you can enjoy all the various perks that entails. And we keep adding businesses every week to that. So it's currently 139 on there, but there's more on the way, and we have some really exciting new additions coming soon. All of them lockdown friendly, so people can actually, kind of use the discount and deal, even though it is we're currently in lockdown.
Watch this space. Then you've just given me before we started recording a little teaser of what one of those might be that's coming up. So let's watch this space. Excited to hear about that. So what's the irony about it is it's a completely Birmingham centric platform and concept, all about our great second city. But the idea was born in Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I went to university in Liverpool with the founders of Independent Liverpool, and I'm actually one of the owners of that platform as well. And because during my kind of time in Liverpool, my friends and I, we all went out and we kind of discovered the amazing independence there. And they have kind of areas that are dedicated solely to independence, like Bold Street and a few others. And that was my passion. I kind of went to these lesser known bars and coffee shops and restaurants, and I really enjoyed discovering them. They're so different, and you could kind of tell that some love and like kind of hard work and passion had really been poured into them. And I thought it's something that would be really applicable to Birmingham. I kind of felt at the time that not many people knew about independence. There wasn't that kind of prevalent trend of supporting local or about hyper local. And quite frankly, I didn't know about a single independent in Birmingham. I lived there my whole life, and I didn't know a single one. So I kind of thought, if this is something that interests me, but I don't even know about the independence, then surely other people will be interested too. So I set up the website and the social media pages, and kind of just started to grind it out. I started writing about these places, helping people to discover them, and trying to build the social media pages. It's not my area of expertise. I studied law at university, so I didn't really know anything about social media, about kind of building platforms, like websites, everything like that. So everything's been self-taught. And the start of that journey was kind of tough and quite lonely, because it was just me. I ran the business all by myself for 4.5 years, and for the first kind of year and a half, it was hard getting the message out there, trying to encourage people to support local, because it wasn't the kind of, like I said, the prevalent trend that it is now, where everyone's kind of thinking, where do I want to spend my money? At the time, it was almost like I felt like a one-man mission to kind of celebrate the city and be like, you know what, there are these incredible places. But over the years, a lot more people have kind of turned towards supporting local, and it is more of a prevalent thing now. And Independent Birmingham's, kind of actively inspired other such platforms to pop up, not only in kind of, the surrounding areas and things, but also in other cities across the UK. So it's kind of been rewarding that way. But it is weird that it's a kind of concept that started in another city, and that is kind of almost synonymous with Birmingham and the independent scene in this city.
Yeah, and it's knowing where to find these places as well, because if you mentioned Liverpool, it's a village in comparison to Birmingham, isn't it? And in Birmingham, you can walk around Digbeth and Sturchley and places like that, and there are independents at all corners and all streets, and you only know they're there if you know.
Yeah, definitely. That is the thing. Birmingham is much, much bigger than Liverpool, and I kind of started out in the city centre discovering these independents, and then kind of worked worked my way out. When I first launched the Independent Birmingham membership card, I kind of set up micro pockets where you could use your card and use a discount for various independents in different areas. So I kind of started out with like Moseley, Digbeth, Jewellery Quarter, King's Heath, and Harborne, because they were places that had a number of independents who were really awesome and doing incredible things. And I could kind of market the card that way, saying, hey, if you live in Digbeth or if you live in the JQ, you can use your IB card at, XYZ, like 10 different places there. But if you also go visit this place and this place and this place, then you could use it here. And it kind of started to expand the scope outwards. But obviously, like, there's so many independents across Birmingham, it'd be impossible to kind of include all of them and kind of encompass everywhere. But as a platform builds and builds and builds, the kind of expectation on that is more. So we're trying to kind of discover even more independents, like try to celebrate as broad a spectrum of independents as possible, and really kind of be a definitive guide to discovering the very best of Birmingham.
Absolutely. And what I wanted to ask you about actually was, you've essentially started out as a one-man band, and it's a blog, and then you've got social media and all of that, and you're promoting these independents, but then you've actually got to go from doing that and writing about them to getting them on board with the platform. So what was that first pitch like? Because you've got to go in there and get it right, and you've got to sell this to the independents as being kind of the first one, so to speak. Can you remember that, who it was and how daunting it was and everything?
Yeah, it was tough at the start. I built up the website and the blog, and the way I did it was I championed the independents in the city in order to kind of then, kind of infuse this ethos of wanting to support local within the audience base I built up. But at the time, I didn't have a very large audience base for launching the card, and I went around about 20 independents, and I kind of said to them, discount cards aren't a novel concept. However, this one's going to be kind of hyper local. It's only going to be for Birmingham, and it's only going to include independents. And I think it will work really well. I kind of pitched it. A few of them were a bit like, I'm not really sure about this, but most of them said yes. And then the ones who kind of were on the fence eventually joined down the line when they saw the success of the IB card when it first came out. But it was tough work. I obviously had to kind of convince these independents that I knew what I was doing, and I had a larger kind of vision and a larger plan. I'd always planned to launch this discount card scheme and then eventually take it app-based when, kind of the technology caught up and things were a bit more kind of prevalent, because not many people were kind of on apps at the moment back then and things. Obviously, Instagram had kind of just launched around that time and things, and was just kind of picking up. But yeah, like, apps weren't kind of, the most prevalent thing that everyone was on. So the discount card was perfect because it was a piece of artwork that you could put in your pocket. I had local artists. I commissioned them to create artwork for the back, and we changed it every year. And it was just such a simple and almost elegant concept where you just turn up, flash this discount card at the venue, and you get, like a free coffee with your brunch, or, 20% off, or 2-for-1 cocktails and things like that. And I think the independents who hadn't initially joined saw how much success it was enjoying and encouraging other people to visit the independents on the scheme. And then a number joined, and it kind of started gaining momentum. I mean, for the first year and a half, no one really cared. And I sat at my laptop for 7 days a week, kind of, 13, 15 hours a day, just making people care, because, that was it. It was my passion, and I kind of knew where I wanted it to be. And I knew that other people would be as interested in these incredible independents as I would be, but it's just reaching them. And I think that's kind of, that's what independents struggle with most at the moment anyway. It's like reaching people on social media. There's so many voices, and it's so competitive, and it's so tough to kind of build these large social media audiences that, kind of having one definitive go-to source is really like helpful for them, and it kind of helps to champion them in a way that, kind of hopefully translates to people then kind of supporting them once they've seen them on our page. And that was the idea, and it kind of, took off from there. And then we did the app. After many years of doing the card, I was sad to see the card go, to be honest, because I liked it. I really thought it was kind of very simple and, kind of almost down to the roots of it and things. But I decided that an app would be a more complete product, because you could have like a database of independents. We've created a wish list on there where you can create your own very like kind of to visit list and tick them off and things like that. And it has an interactive map on there, and you can filter by category or what day of the week you want to go somewhere, and
it's just
which area.
Natural next step, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a natural progression. And that's it. And then kind of, we the kind of social media started really gaining momentum a few years ago. I had to take a hiatus from Instagram. I didn't actually have a smartphone for 3 years. I was kind of operating off a little like burner phone, like a £10 phone. So I didn't have a smartphone, so I couldn't do the Instagram. So we've built up that 40,000 following in about 2.5 years, which just shows the appetite that people have to kind of discover independence in Birmingham and support local, I guess.
Going to get onto the social media element in a bit and how you've built that up, because I think it's in excess of 100,000 followers, isn't it, across the main channels? But who was the first one to say yes then, just out of curiosity?
A lovely little cafe called Brewsmith that no longer exists. It was where Indian Brewery is on Livery Street, next to the alternative entrance to Snow Hill. Yep, there's a cafe there called Brewsmith that did amazing bacon sandwiches and lovely coffee, and they said yes. Urban on Church Street were one of the first, and Bodega Cantina as well. Loki Wine. They were amongst the first ones to say yes.
Good old Phil at Loki, great guy.
Yeah, and then the Plough and the Electric Cinema came on after about 1.5 years, and that was kind of the catalyst where some independents were kind of like, I'll see how it goes. But the main thing was, it said exactly what you were. It said you're an independent and you're in Birmingham. So lots of people wanted to join because of that, and a lot of other independents wanted to join because they saw the brand association with these other established independents. So someone who was kind of new, who had just opened, would be associated with these like kind of establishments and institutions who have been around for like kind of 10, 15 years. And it was nice for them, and the kind of people who bought into the Independent Birmingham membership would know that anyone who was added to that would be of a really high quality. And even if they'd never heard of them before, they would know that it's somewhere, a business they had to seek out, because it would be, really awesome.
It's funny you mentioned the Electric Cinema, actually, because my next point or question, so to speak, was going to be that it is worth adding that although there's a lot of sort of food content on there and access to food establishments, you've got theatres, you've got music venues. There's some really awesome places like the Electric, the Rep. I think the Rep and the Night Owl are both on there, aren't they? Yeah,
there's loads. There's like, we try to make it as complete a lifestyle product as possible. So it's not just about food and drink. I know a lot of people are kind of very enthusiastic about independent restaurants and bars and street food and things like that. But no, there are so many aspects of kind of independent culture in Birmingham, and we've tried to champion and celebrate as many of them as possible. So there are clothes shops on there, like liquor store. There are bakeries on there, like the bakery. But there's the Reps on there, Birmingham Rep, the Hippodrome's on there, Electric Cinema, back Birmingham, Night Owl, Hare and Hounds, obviously a number of these venues are temporarily closed because they can't operate at the moment. But yeah, we had some really amazing discounts at these really, really like incredible venues, and it was just wonderful. Like obviously before coronavirus struck, so, like everyone was kind of going out and things, and yeah, you could download your app and you could go to the theatre, you could get a bite to eat before, and you could go for a cocktail after, and every aspect of what you wanted to do, you could support local and you could get the various discount or deals through the Independent Birmingham app. And it was just giving people that little nudge to get off the sofa and get out the house and get into these venues who were, kind of lending such a unique aspect to the city. And now, obviously, things have changed. So now we're trying to kind of enable it to be used online so that whilst we are still in lockdown, people can still enjoy the benefits of being an IB member, but also still discover all these amazing places who have, they've had to adapt and they're doing really fantastic things, trying to keep people, kind of fed and watered and trying to kind of, still make the city unique. And I'm glad to kind of be part of that and help people kind of discover these really, really fantastic independents.
Sure, you've alluded a bit already to how much effort you have to put into the content creation to attract people and make it appeal to people. So, as well as gaining the knowledge of what's out there and being able to articulate that with words and pictures, that's an area you've really had to learn a lot about, isn't it? About what floats people's boats on the different platforms, and it's obviously working because, as we said, you've got like in excess of 100,000 followers.
Yeah, it's tough. Like people assume social media is easy, and I think that social media content creators and social media managers are some of the most underrated and underpaid people at the moment, because social media is your portal to discovering businesses. Everyone who wants to be discovered is on social media. There are obviously a number of independents who kind of thrive off word of mouth and they've been established for a while. But if you want to get your product out there, you need to be on social media and you need to understand the different platforms and what they kind of encompass and what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And it changes all the time. The platforms adapt, algorithms change, different content works for different ones. Like currently Facebook is more video based. And if you have like a really amazing video that showcases an independent, or you can kind of do a walkthrough video, or, kind of pan around an amazing burger or some fried chicken and kind of do that, and people are scrolling down their feed, that video plays automatically and it kind of captures their attention. And then, on Instagram, it's more visual based. So videos, they've just launched their reels and things, and they're really pushing that quite hard. But up until then, video content didn't really work quite as well. And it was more kind of visual and picture based. So you have to adapt your content accordingly for each one. And I know a lot of people kind of post on Instagram and then they click like post to Facebook and stuff like that. But if you really want to engage your audiences, you have to know which platform and what kind of content works for each one. And you really have to kind of get into it. And it is a very full-on, full-time kind of effort creating consistent, high-quality content to get out there, because, it's exhausting, things like that. But people consume information at such a rapid rate nowadays, and, unless you keep up with that, unless you continuously post and you kind of keep reminding people that you're there, then, they do forget about you. And it is, that's the kind of stakes you're playing with. And, you have to kind of work hard to find out about these brilliant places and then find amazing pictures of them or videos or any other content like that and put it out there, because we're not just about the independents who are on the Independent Birmingham map. We champion independence across the city. So we're always constantly talking about independence, like in various areas, whether they're on the IB app or not. And it's, we have to make sure that we know what we're talking about and we're the go-to to guide for that. So yeah, kind of we put a lot of effort into our kind of content creation for social media, and it obviously, like you say, it's worked well. We've got over 120,000 followers across Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and like I said earlier, we do kind of reach between 2 to 2.5 million people a month across social media, which is, for an independent who's just starting out, or even if one's established, being on that platform really kind of helps present them to an audience who may not have heard about them before. And it's kind of, that's what we're all about, connecting our brilliant audience with the fantastic independents in the city and vice versa.
Sure, and some of the long form content I think is great as well. It was, what was the sort of ironic blog post that it was something like 15 reasons to avoid Birmingham or something?
Yeah, 50 reasons to stay away from Birmingham. That was that was one of my favorite articles, actually. Yeah, because we kind of continuously create content for the website as well, and a lot of that takes the form of guides. So we have one which was like 73 dishes that you need to eat in Birmingham, and we did a 50 vegan dishes you need to eat in Birmingham. We've done an extremely highly read and shared article, which is a kind of definitive guide to independents who are offering delivery and takeaway services in Birmingham who have had to adapt and things. And that's the kind of content that we've been kind of continuously putting out over the years. And it's obviously like adapted over the years to kind of include new independents and include new areas and new interests. But one of the first articles that I wrote all those years ago was this satirical kind of 50 reasons to stay away from Birmingham, where everyone loves to hate on Birmingham. Everyone's like, concrete city, it's crap, it's there's nowhere interesting, and everyone who lives there is like, hang on a second, like it's great. Like, you just only think that because you visited the station in like the 90s or something and had a quick wander around the Palisades and then got back on your train and went somewhere else. Like, you don't know. So it starts off as like this clickbait article where I was like, I'm going to write this really sensationalist headline, and people are going to want to click on it because they're going to want to be like, oh, either I love this city or this is wrong, or people going, yeah, it's crap, I'm going to click on this. And then it just turns into this beautiful love letter to the city, which says like, you know what, this is the very best of Birmingham, and this is why it's so beautiful and unique. And what you thought about it, your preconceptions, they're misguided, and it really is a fantastic place for those who live there and for those who visit and come to the city.
Well, you say people hate on Birmingham, but Brummies themselves like to take the piss out of themselves as well. So there's that element to it as well. So
yeah, definitely. I like, and that's the kind of great thing about Birmingham, is the self depreciation. People can take the piss out themselves and be lighthearted, but there's also this pride, and I think people do get quite annoyed when it's like the city's misrepresented in national news, or kind of the same old tired headlines about the city and things. And it has so much to offer, and it really is a fantastic place to live and work. And just the fact that so many people are moving out of places like London and the big cities and flooding to Birmingham just shows that, for the last kind of 5 years or so, it really has become an extremely exciting city to live in.
Yeah, and talking about the evolution of everything, I mean, over Christmas, me and my other half, we were, like most people, talking about reflecting on what a rubbish year 2020 had been, and things we normally love to do and that didn't happen, and we really missed. And one of the things that came up in conversation that we both really missed last year was the Aston Hall Food Festival, and it's such a great vibe, a great day out, beautiful setting as well. My dog absolutely loves it as well. So tell us about the festival idea and how that started to grow legs.
Yeah, so the Independent Birmingham festivals were designed to be a manifestation of the brand. The whole idea was to kind of bring a bunch of these fantastic independents who we championed through social media and through the kind of the app, and bring them all to one stunning location and just have a lovely like weekend long celebration of all the kind of independent businesses in Birmingham and create like a really fun vibe around it. So the first one that we did was at the Bond Company in Digbeth, and we had pop-up restaurants, which no one was really doing at the time. There were various street food markets that were kind of taking place across Birmingham, but no one had included established restaurants in that. So we kind of invited these amazing restaurants down. We had pop-up restaurants and cocktail bars and craft beer bars. We had a stage with live music on, which was curated by Hare and Hounds. And then we also had an indoor market hall, which had 30 different artists and makers and designers in there, where you could buy independent, kind of wares, everything from like prints to earrings to donuts to kind of greeting cards to clothing, everything like that. And it was meant to be like a true celebration of the city, and also kind of, like I said, a physical embodiment of the independent Birmingham brand. And we did the first one and sold out really quickly. And I just thought there's an appetite for this. So then, every year we try to put on the two festivals, the one at the Bond and the one that you mentioned at Aston Hall, where it's beautiful Jacobean manor and has really stunning grounds. And I just kind of thought this would be the perfect place for a food festival. So, after working out the tough logistics, we were the first people to put on an event of that kind at Aston Hall. So we're kind of breaking the ground with working out what could or couldn't be done. But it ended up being like a beautiful event where, like I said, we had so many pop-up restaurants and street food traders and cocktail bars and craft beer, and we had a stage. There's three kind of areas to Aston Hall, and in one of the areas it was like kind of dedicated to our main stage, and we had some amazing local bands playing, and it really was like a beautiful celebration of all things independent. And like every year we sold out about 4,000 tickets to these events and things. And obviously last year we were meant to put on another one, and just as we're kind of partway through promoting it, coronavirus came and we had to kind of cancel that festival. We did initially think we could reschedule it, but kind of things didn't go to right.
Everything like that was a logistical nightmare, wasn't it, last year? So it's kind of understandable, but hopefully it'll be back and bigger and better, so to speak.
Definitely. I love doing them as well. Like the best thing about them is the fact that so many people come down who haven't heard about a number of the independents who are involved, and they try their food or their drinks, or they buy something from the indoor market hall, and they then become a loyal customer of that independent. They say, I've never tried this place before, but I'm going to go find them out now. I'm going to go find them and visit their venue and kind of support them from now on. And that's what it's all about. It's not only a brilliant weekend where, a bunch of independents can, kind of have this, weekend-long celebration of Birmingham, but it also kind of has a knock-on effect of encouraging more people to get out there and discover Birmingham, because if they're like, oh, I didn't know this place existed, there must be others I don't know exist. And it kind of, it just encourages more and more people to support local. And it was just a kind of a way for us to encourage even more people to support local. And then the independents loved being part of it, because not only did they make money on the day, but we were very active on social media around those weekends, gained about 500 followers on Instagram per festival event. So kind of we're really prevalent on social media with that, and the independents loved it because it was getting them out even more to our audience and kind of encouraging them to discover them.
Absolutely, it really is one of my favourite weekends of the year, so can't wait for it to come back.
I'm glad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just a few more questions then to wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put you on the spot a bit now, without running the risk of upsetting anybody that you collaborate with. You know what's coming. I'm going to ask you, where are your go-to independents, your favourites, so to speak?
Okay.
Are you allowed to answer that?
I am, yeah. I mean, obviously, I through Independent Birmingham, I try to celebrate everyone that we can and not show kind of favoritism. But I am a human being. I do have my favorites, and yeah, I'm happy for you to ask away.
So you go to then for food and drink. You're going to take someone that's landed in Birmingham that's never been here before. They want to go for a nice bit of food and a few drinks. Go.
Going to Bonehead for fried chicken. I'm going to Tiger Bites Pig for bao buns. I'm going to Gaijin Sushi for sushi. I'm going to Polly for pizza. And I'm going to the Edgbaston or Fort St. Paul's for cocktails. And if they liked beer, then I take them to Burning Soul Brewery in the JQ. Yeah, for coffee, I'd probably go to Faculty. Oh, medicine.
The way you've rolled those off, you've definitely been asked that a few times before, haven't you? So
my mind's constantly on food. That's the thing. Like, especially with doing the kind of social media and things, I'm having to look through all this mouth-watering food all the time. It makes me hungry. So I'm readily like, yeah, I need to go here. Yes, I need to go here. Medicine Bakery as well for their cronuts. They're a thing of beauty. And NQ64 video games. They only just opened kind of maybe like 4 months before the pandemic hit, and I loved it there. I was always in NQ64 playing Time Crisis or Donkey Kong or Tekken. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've not been yet, but it's in Digbeth, right?
Yeah, it's in the courtyard, in Digbeth Courtyard, and it's really cool. It is a really, really special place. I really loved it because I love the nostalgia of the kind of retro video games. They do cocktails, which is a really cool, funky place.
Digbeth's just it for me. I think it's the best place, best part of Birmingham now. It's just incredible. I mean, like London's got Camden. If you want a sort of a kind of parallel, but why wouldn't you come to Digbeth instead if you're a foodie, a music fan, a creative? It's just got so much vibrancy, hasn't it?
Definitely. Like, Digbeth is fantastic. It really, really is. And it's great to see such a resurgence in the area as well. There was a while where it was very quiet, and then obviously Digbeth Dining Club came about and they kind of blew all that out of the water. And they've done a really tremendous job kind of aiding the resurgence of that area. They have like kind of 5,000 people come down to Digbeth every week, or they did before the pandemic, and they're bringing people to that area. So other businesses have opened up and thrived because of that footfall, and then obviously become destinations in their own right. And yeah, it's created a really awesome kind of atmosphere around Digbeth. It's a great place for food and drink, but it's also a great place for music, like you say, live music, and the kind of old boozers there as well, if you like a more traditional pint and kind of pub offering. And then obviously there's a cinema there, and then Q64. It kind of has everything you need. And yeah, between the kind of UK acclaimed street art and everything in between, it really is an awesome destination. And if anyone listening hasn't actually made a journey down to Digbeth and to the custard factory, then I really recommend you do so. It's a really vibrant and wonderful place, and hopefully after coronavirus is kind of not as prevalent anymore, it can get back to how it was, at the start of last year.
Yeah, one of the first guests we had on this podcast actually was Jack from Digbeth Dining Club, and there are a lot of parallels between what you've just said and what he said as well, and it's just great. There's so much going on there. But what's next then for independent Birmingham? What's next on the? I was going to say what's next on the journey. I don't want it to sound like you're a reality TV contestant, because I hate when that phrase gets used. But what is next on the agenda for you?
Well, obviously, surviving the pandemic's number one. It's still a bit rocky and things. We kind of we're still not really in that safer position at the moment in terms of membership subscribers and things. But obviously, because we are so active on social media and things, it's kind of balancing out a bit with that. But obviously, it's just growing the brand. It is a very hyper-local, Birmingham-centric brand, so it's more of the same as building the brand. It's building up the app to be a incredible lifestyle product that, you know, if you love supporting independence or you want to find out more about independence in Birmingham, then it has to be your go-to tool to discovering that. Obviously, I'd love to put on more festivals as soon as that's viable, getting a lot of people into into one location things. Obviously, now if you think about having kind of 3,000 or 4,000 people in an area, kind of panic sets in. But that was the norm a while ago, and hopefully it can go back to the same again, and we can put on more incredible festivals, because there's so many unused spots around the city and the suburbs, which will be really terrific locations for these kinds of events or smaller scale events and things. So I'd like to build on that, and obviously, you know, kind of take the Independent Birmingham social media platform to the next level, and the app along with that as well.
Yeah, TikTok videos and stuff like that.
I'm not sure that IB is quite the kind of TikTok thing. I don't think anyone needs to see me dancing around eating burger. I mean, some people might want to see that, but most people definitely won't. So
no, it's one too many for me as well. I mean, I love social media. I work in social media, but it's not a platform I've dabbled too much in yet. So I'm with you on that.
No, same.
Just to finish off, then it's a question we finish off by asking all our guests. So this is obviously the Epic Brum podcast. So what makes Birmingham epic?
The independence, of course. Birmingham has so many terrific independent businesses who've poured their souls and their everything they have into making their business especially unique and lending a kind of unique aspect to the city. And it is the independents who, I believe, you know, the kind of lifeblood of our city and make it epic. It makes people want to come here from other cities, and it makes people who live and work here proud to kind of be from Birmingham. So yeah, that's it. Independents are epic.
That's a great way to round off. Well, thanks for joining us, Joe, because I know your time's precious at the moment. You're a busy man. And hopefully...
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We had a few tech problems at the start, but I think we've just about got through. And hopefully next time we'll be able to chat face-to-face in the sunshine at Aston Hall with either a beer and some chicken wings or something like that.
Definitely, yeah. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for that day. I honestly, that's the dream. That is the dream. But yeah, thank you very much for having me and giving me the opportunity to tell people about Independent Birmingham.
It's a pleasure. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Epic Brum podcast. And if you like what you heard, you can find more episodes on all the major podcast apps, such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Epic Brum HQ.